My 10th year at Bartlett High School. I teach AP Economics, Regular Economics, and International Relations. I really wanted to go to Africa like my whole life. So I started looking into, well, okay, I want to go to Africa. Well, how do you go? You can't just get on a plane and go, okay, I'm here, you know. And I discovered that there's many organizations around the United States, around the world, that kind of play matchmaker. They have connections with various villages in these poor countries around the world, and they match people like me up with them. So through a long search and questions and that kind of stuff, I ended up connecting up with an organization called Village Volunteers. They said to me, where do you want to go in Africa? I said, I don't know, just send me somewhere in Africa, I don't know. They connected me up with Dago. So I was gone for about 2.5 weeks, so about 2 weeks in Dago. And it was amazing. I got to know the kids, I spent time in the school, I spent time in the homes, I got to go to the only medical facility they had, which was like 30 miles away, which is nothing that we would call a medical facility. It was dirty and really weird, but I got to know them, you know, and it was an amazing experience. However, when I left, I'm thinking like, okay, this was cool, I did it, you know, and I'm on the plane and thinking more about it. And to be frank, by the time I landed in Chicago, I was like, I gotta go back. And that's when I started thinking more about, I really want to do something more. I mean, I'm a big believer in education, I'm a teacher, all that kind of stuff. I want to do something more. So I really started looking into, and I began to understand more how the core problem is, well, there's just, everything's a problem, but nobody gets an education. Most kids don't go to high school. Most kids don't even get to 7th grade. So I wanted to start an education fund. Bernard and Elsie Weiss were my mom and dad. I lost my parents in 2005 and 2006. My parents grew up very poor in Chicago, never got to go to college, but they made sure that me and my brothers all had a college education. And so I wanted to do this really in memory of them. You know, my whole life I always wanted to like sponsor a kid. And we all see the commercials on TV of the poor African child or poor Asian child. And I always was tempted to give money. And I'm a pretty trusting person by nature, but you know, it's like it seemed like every time I was ready to do something, you hear some story of some scam artist who's taking people's money that's supposed to go to poor African kids, and they're ripping you off. Yeah. And so I just never felt that comfortable in doing it. So that's when I made the decision to go to Africa. It was like, okay, I'm going to sponsor kids, but I'm going to control it. I'm going to know the kid, I'm going to know the family, I'm going to know the community, I'm going to know the school, I'm going to be in total control of the money. So I know every penny is going to the kids. There's nobody scamming me. When I did my homework, I learned that one of the problems they have is sometimes a kid will get sponsored for high school for a year or two, and then all of a sudden the sponsorship goes away and they're done. So I learned that when we commit to somebody, like we'll commit to 3 or 4 kids this January, that means we have enough money in the bank for all 4 years. All of these kids getting a high school education, and then hopefully most getting a university education, will totally change their lives. Those lives will be totally different than their parents' lives. I mean, they'll be teachers, doctors, lawyers, professional people. You know, I think it's going to dramatically change their lives, but it's not going to happen overnight. Improvement comes slow.